Super Rugby round number 7, folks. Who are the favourites for the upcoming matches? Who's kind of in desperate times, desperate measures territory? And who is looking to go top of the log? We'll go through it for round 7 pretty quick. You guys can let us know your thoughts. We are going to start with a bit of a desperate times, desperate measures game for Moana taking on the Highlanders. Moana were not predicted to be in the playoffs at all, and they're not looking to be in 11th. They haven't won since round 1. The Highlanders would like to be in the playoff conversation, but are currently out of it. They are in 8th. They've only won the 2 matches. They will be certainly targeting this one for a win. They do come into this one as favourites, but interestingly have rotated their squad a little bit. But for Moana, they've had an enforced squad rotation in the offseason. Remember, they lost a bunch of their players. Adi went back to Japan. Taimoifalau joined the Chiefs, and other guys went abroad as well. And they've also lost Simisi Tupu Tailoa, who looks to be that kind of breakout player that's going to get poached by somebody else next year if he's not on contract, because he's been having a cracking year at number 8, but he's out injured with a head knock. So is Tom Savage and Julian Savia, who only got 2 minutes in Moana colours, also out. So they've got some changes, rotated props. They've had to change the second row and back row, as I said, with the injuries. So, yeah, it's more rotation from Tana's boys. Jackson Garden-Bishop is going to get the nod at 10. They need to get the ball out to Glenn Vaihu, because that guy has been busting tackles on the wing. But they are going to have to be careful, because the Highlanders wingers have looked very, very dangerous. The Highlanders still got no Cam Miller at 10. He is out with concussion, so Pasitoa gets the job at 10 this week. But he's got a new face alongside him. Nick Shearer is going to get his debut at number 9. So he seems to be doing a little bit of rotation, I guess, with Moana on the cards, maybe saving the likes of a Whakatawa for some other opponents later on down the track. Lasanga is there at 7. Tiki Howden's back to the back row because Lavanini returns, the big lump at second row, and then get the ball. Speaking of getting the ball to the wingers, get it to Tangitau. He's first equal for the entire competition in clean breaks, and he's for the team who are in 8th spot. That's how dangerous that man is. Interestingly, Tavatavanawa is another one who is kind of semi-rested. He drops to the bench for this one. The Highlanders are favourites. The bookies say by 15. Interestingly, the Rugby Forecast algorithm has it a little bit closer, saying by 5. I guess home advantage being a factor there. Second game on the Friday is the Brumbies taking on the Tars. The Brumbies are looking the best of the Aussie teams, although they did lose to the Reds. And the Waratahs, it's looking a familiar story. It seemed promising at the start of the season, but it's fallen off a wee bit. They are out of the playoffs at the moment. The Brumbies, with the way Larkham likes to coach the team, are keeping things remarkably stable. Barring that game where they went over to Fiji and rotated, it's very, very stable. Ollie Sapsford does come in on the right wing, though. Hudson Crichton also drops to the bench from the midfield. The man to watch this season, though, has still been Charlie Cale. He's top try scorer of the competition. He's been winning line-out ball. The guy has been doing a bit of everything for the Brumbies. So coming off a win against the Chiefs, they'll be looking to make it another one, this time against the Tars. The Tars, it's getting kind of, I don't want to say desperate times just yet, but they probably needed to do better last week at home. That was a result that they could have used. They had the Blues on the ropes for a long time, but couldn't land the knockout punch. Now you got a road trip to Canberra, which is tough. They've also kept things remarkably stable, though. I guess Stan McKellar, coach of the Tars, has seen enough from the team that if they catch the ball a bit more, they could do some damage. Max Jorgensen's still their kind of star of the show with 6 tries this season, and Andrew Callaway does come in on the right wing because Harry Potter is out with a quad injury. There's still no Suali'i. He is injured. And Ioane Moananu is a bit of a fan favourite here in NZ, is unfortunately out with a shoulder injury. So, yeah, it's predicted to be an uphill battle for the Tars. 12 points, say the bookies. 15 points, Brumbies favourites with the algorithm. Then moving over to the Saturday games. I like the look of Hurricanes Reds because they've both got the same record of wins and losses, but the Hurricanes have certainly been the ones scoring a lot more tries. So this is a good test for both teams for where they're at, because they're both doing reasonably well on the table. Both have been accused a little bit of being pretenders who haven't claimed maybe the biggest of scalps. Like I said, the Reds did beat the Brumbies away from home, which was a remarkable one given the form the Brumbies were in, heading their first defeat, but yeah, if you saw what the Hurricanes did to the Landers last week, they are an absolutely electric-looking team at the moment. Tyrell Lomax is back, so that's a bit of good news for their front row, but it's been all about that backline, man. This week it's Roygaard at 9, Love at 10, Geordie at 12, Proctor at 13, and then Whiniang Onofo, who's also first equal for clean breaks with Will Jordan and Caleb Tangitau, is there on the left wing. 3 tries from him last week. Balin Sullivan's on the right wing, and then Josh Morby at fullback. And Karefi's back to starting this week as well. So it's a pretty sexy looking Hurricanes team. Callum Harkins, unfortunately, out with concussion for a wee bit. For the Reds, Fraser McCright returns. Remember, these guys were over in Fiji, getting a win over in Lautoka, and they did it with a rotated squad. So Fraser McCright's back, the tackling machine. Werchon gets a start at 9. Remember, there's still no Tate McDermott. He hasn't played yet this season. McLaughlin Phillips is still going to pull the strings at 10, despite the fact that Liner is finally back. He is back on the bench. Unfortunately for them, there's no Carter Gordon and no Ben Volavola, who only just got fit for the Reds and is now back out. So, yeah, number 10's been a little bit of a injury-clouded one for the Reds thus far this season. But they have been a good team. But it does feel like Wellington might be a bit of a bridge too far. But, hey, they were not given much of a chance by some over in Lautoka last week. So, Hurricanes by 15 with the Algo, by 13 with the bookies. So, still big-time underdogs. The Reds. Then my Blues up against the Drua. The Drua never win away from home. So, in theory, this should be a doddle for the Blues. But, hey, the Drua are going to get it right one of these days. You just don't want to be that team that they get it right against. For the Blues, coming off that win away from home against the Tars, they've promoted Peyton Spencer from bench to starting. So, first start for him. So, big congratulations to that young man. Hopefully, his dad's at this game as well. Cole Forbes also back fit. He's on the right wing. So, Cody Vide drops back to the bench. Caleb Clark has been running the run meters for days. We've got a lot of informed wingers here in New Zealand. I've mentioned a few of them already, and Caleb Clark is certainly one of them as well. And I'm happy with Funaki starting at 9 because I feel like the Blues got more pay from the back line when Funaki was pulling the strings at 9 than when we had Christie there. Don't mean to jump on the back of Christie because he gets enough stick as it is, but that's just what we saw last week. So he gets a start at 9. And we are without a few of our Lucies, though. Dalton, our top tackler, is out, injured. Hoskins is out. And then in the backs, Zahn Sullivan is also out. So it's a little bit of a rejig from the Blues. For the Drua, they've kept things pretty stable. They have started Kemu Valetini this week at 10. So Armstrong Ravula is usually the guy. But again, they didn't really... They couldn't get the hands going last week over in Lautoka, which is disappointing because they need to win at home. Now they've got to win on the road, and they've also put Momo on the bench, not on the bench, on the right wing, and he's usually got kind of bad hands, so they'll be needing him to catch some ball. And then Yosefo Namothe is also getting his first Super Rugby start at 12, so big congratulations to him. But otherwise, the squad is largely pretty stable. Look out for Thanakai Vata doing the big carries in the loose. But they are, I think, this week's biggest underdogs, the Drua. 20 points, say the bookies, and 24 says the algorithm, not backed away from home at all. Final game is the Western Force taking on the Chiefs. Western Force coming off the bye. Chiefs with that disappointing loss where they blew a big lead up against the Brumbies. The Chiefs have rotated a wee bit. They've changed their 19 combo. They've shoved D-Mac to fullback, but for the Force, they've had a week to sit and prep. They need a win. They're in 10th. I don't think their tour of New Zealand was that bad. I thought they showed some glimpses, but that they need to get a result. And you feel like at home when you've had the week and the Chiefs have got to travel across, this is a targetable game. The Chiefs are in 6th. They're not looking invulnerable like they were looking at the start of the season when they were, largely big-time favourites to top the comp. Tom Robertson playing Amosa, Harry Johnson-Holmes, same front row. Ikawasi's back fit at number 8, so largely very stable. Kurtley Beale was looking all right at 12 the last time they played a fortnight ago. He continues on, so it's a veteran midfield with him alongside Bridge. Darby Lancaster was looking electric. Yeah, it's very stable from the Force. Dylan Peach is one of the big-name guys still missing, but yeah, they've got most of their guys back fit and available. I mentioned the Chiefs have rotated, so Tokiaho's on the bench. Brody McAllister starts. Taumuifalo's back on the bench. He hasn't really fired yet in the 2 chances he's had for the Chiefs. D-Mac is at 15, Rose at 9, Jacobs at 10. Akoi and Fina are promoted from the bench. Kuntu Pai has been a carrying machine. He continues on at 12, but yeah, no Rona and no Foketi injured. Chiefs are favourites, do need a win. But I'd love to see the Force get up because their season at this point desperately is in need of a win, but they'll be up against it 15 points and 14 points with the algorithm and the bookies respectively. Those are this week's squads, predictions, some key players and whatnot. You guys let me know your thoughts on how you reckon they're going to go. Who's the potential upset of the round? You guys take care, subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.